Do I need to hire an attorney for a traffic infraction? We get a ton of calls at the firm with people who are charged with traffic infractions. They get a traffic ticket, whether it be speeding, going past a school bus with a stop sign out, running a red light, blowing a stop sign, actual infractions, because you can still get an actual ticket sheet from an officer that has a criminal offense on it. You do see that occasionally with DUIs. But I'm strictly talking about your normal run-of-the-mill speeding ticket, traffic infraction. Do you need to hire an attorney? So we defend people all the time that are charged or that have traffic infractions. Now, if you get convicted of or found true a traffic infraction, you're not going to go to jail or anything like that. The worst thing that can happen is a fine or potentially a license suspension. So there are, I would say, 3 types of people that are charged with infractions. Number 1, if you are just an everyday person, driving is not your living. In other words, you're not a CDL driver, and we'll get to that here in a minute, but the speeding ticket isn't going to ruin your life. Then you probably don't need to hire our particular firm. That's not something that you really need us to handle. Why? Because number 1, we're going to charge more than the actual ticket would be. But number 2, if it's not going to wreck your life, in the grand scheme of things, there are other traffic attorneys out there that will be able to help you out, or you might even be able to handle something to that effect if it doesn't affect your everyday life. So that type of person number 1, probably does not need to hire our firm, but definitely is always recommended to have an attorney on your side. Now, number 2 is a little bit worse of a driver, we'll say, than number 1. For example, let's say number 2 has a bunch of speeding tickets that have added up over the course of time. Throw in a driving while suspended or a reckless driving. So if you have 9 speeding tickets or any type of moving violations, and then you get 1 major offense, the BMV is actually going to qualify you as a habitual traffic violator and suspend your driver's license for 5 years. So if you fall into category number 2, i.e. you have a bunch of tickets, and you add another one that could potentially compound the issue, and you want to make sure that you're not going to end up as a habitual traffic violator and lose your ability to drive a car for 5 years, then you're going to want to give us a call. We'll be able to look at your driving record. We'll be able to figure out what is the best plan for you moving forward. Whether it's, hey, you are going to be habitual, let's try to figure out and maneuver some of these tickets. Let's try to beat this ticket that you have right now, or try to find a way to where a non-moving violation, and then in that way, it's obviously going to have a different effect on your driver's license. Person number 3 is the person that drives for a living. I'm specifically talking about commercial vehicle drivers, CDL holders. Now, CDL holders, if you are charged with a moving violation, is going to have tremendous effect on your CDL license. You could potentially lose your ability to operate your CDL. Some companies will not hire people if they're speeding in their CDL at a certain level. You're doing 75 and a 40, that's going to cause a lot of problems for your CDL. Your livelihood is legitimately on the line with this traffic ticket. More importantly, with CDLs, the federal government and the Department of Transportation, they crack down on these prosecutors' offices with masking laws. Now, what is masking? Masking is when a prosecutor attempts to try to give a deal to somebody who has a commercial vehicle license that's a non-moving violation. So for example, hey, you're speeding. Well, how about instead of a speeding ticket, we just give you a parking ticket or the equivalent of a parking ticket, and you just pay that. It's the same thing. That's masking. And the federal government can actually come in, and there are some stiff penalties against these prosecutors' office for masking violations, where it causes significant problems for prosecutors' offices, for states, and obviously then it falls back on the company. So if you fall into category number 3, you drive for a living, your family relies on your ability to operate that CDL, and you get a moving violation, you need to give us a call. You need an experienced attorney on your side to fight and do a trial on your case. If you fall into that category, give us a call. We're happy to talk to everybody. But just remember, don't make matters worse by talking to police. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're facing a traffic ticket, especially if you're a CDL holder, give us a call, 317-632-3642. And remember, always plead the 5th.